My name is Lisa, and at 32 years old, I engaged to Aaron, 35 years old. The wedding was supposed to be in 3 months. Venue booked, caterer deposit paid. The whole 9 yards. Last night, he sat me down, looking all kinds of nervous, and said, "Lisa, I have something I need to tell you before we marry." My heart didn't exactly sink. It sort of settled. I'd been feeling a subtle shift for months. Little things. His phone always on silent, face down. Vague overtime hours. That kind of stuff. I just looked at him and said, "I'm listening, Aaron." He launched into this teary story about having doubts, feeling overwhelmed, and then the kicker. He made a mistake and kissed someone else. Just a stupid one-time thing, he swore. Said it meant nothing, and he was so sorry. Regretted it instantly. Blah, blah, blah. Standard script. I let him finish. Didn't interrupt. When he was done, sniffing and looking up at me with those big, hopeful eyes, I just nodded slowly. Then I reached for my briefcase, pulled out a slim black binder, and placed it on the coffee table between us. "This, Aaron," I said, my voice way calmer than I felt inside, "is a report from a private investigator I hired 3 weeks ago." His face went from tear-stained hope to chalk white in about 2 seconds. "A private investigator?" "Yep," I said, tapping the binder. "Turns out your one-time kiss has a name. Julia, isn't it? And it wasn't so one time. More like a regular Tuesday and Thursday afternoon gig for the past 2 months. Hotel rooms, dinners, the works. She even stayed over at your friend Chloe's empty apartment with you last weekend while I was visiting my parents. It's all in there. Pictures, dates, even some rather descriptive text message transcripts." He stared at the binder like it was a venomous snake. Then he just crumpled, slid off the sofa onto the floor, full-on sobbing, grabbing at my legs. "Lisa, no, please. It's not what it looks like. I love you. Julia she was just an escape, a fantasy. Please don't leave me. We can fix this. I'll do anything." I gently removed his hands. The calm was still there, but it was cold now, like a layer of ice over a very deep, very still lake. "Aaron," I said, "the fixing this part was supposed to happen before you decided to systematically betray our relationship. Your confession tonight, that was just damage control because you probably suspected something was up. You weren't confessing, to be honest. You were confessing what you thought you could get away with." I stood up. "The wedding is off, obviously. I'll start making the calls tomorrow. As for us, there is no us. I want you to pack your things and be out of my house by the end of the weekend for the main items. You can arrange a time for any smaller remaining belongings to be collected under supervision next week. All communication regarding anything else can go through a lawyer, if necessary." The begging intensified. It was ugly. But all I saw was the deception, the calculation. He didn't just cheat. He built a whole separate narrative while planning a life with me. The utter disrespect of it all. This isn't a soap opera. This is my life. And he set it on fire. I just happened to have an extinguisher ready. 1 week later. Well, it's been a week since D-Day, Discovery Day, Demolition Day. Take your pick. Aaron conducted the bulk of his move-out over that first weekend, though not without a final dramatic performance that could have won him an Oscar. Lots of wailing about how I was destroying his life and throwing away our future over a mistake. We'd agreed, largely through my lawyer communicating with him after his initial hysterics, that he could collect any remaining smaller items later in the week with supervision to avoid further direct confrontation. That's scheduled for a couple of days from now. The calls to vendors have been awkward. Lost deposits are piling up. It stings, not going to lie. That's money I worked hard for, now just gone. But it's a small price to pay for dodging a lifetime of lies. Aaron's main cheerleader, his best friend Chloe, 32F, called me a few days ago. Didn't even say hello, just launched in. "Lisa, you need to stop this. You're overreacting. Aaron is a wreck." "Me?" I said. "Chloe, with all due respect, Aaron made his bed. He's lucky I'm not posting the PI report on social media." "Chloe, he loves you. People make mistakes. Are you really that perfect? And Julia was just a stupid fling. She meant nothing to him." "Funny," I said. "The report suggests Julia was under the impression she was auditioning for the role of new fiancé once he'd secured the lifestyle upgrade through me. She drives a rented sports car and brags about her crypto investments, right? Real solid person." "Lisa, you're being cruel and vindictive. He's already suffering enough." You should be trying to understand why he felt the need to look for attention elsewhere. Understand? I said. Oh, I understand perfectly. He wanted his cake, and to eat it too. He wanted my stability, and his bit on the side. The only thing I don't understand is why you're enabling this. This conversation is over. I hung up. Then came Aaron's mother, Eleanor, early 60s. Tears, the whole bit. Lisa, dear, he's devastated. He knows he messed up, but think of the love you shared. Don't let a moment of weakness destroy everything. What about the embarrassment? Canceling a wedding? Eleanor, I said, the embarrassment is entirely Aaron's. He's the one who was unfaithful for months. My only embarrassment is not seeing it sooner. We are done. Aaron himself has been texting nonstop, alternating between, I miss you so much I can't eat or sleep, and you owe me for the wedding suit I bought. It was custom. And how could you be so cold after everything we shared? I screenshotted that last one and sent it to my newly hired lawyer, Ms. Evans, with a note that everything we shared apparently included him and Julia. Ms. Evans confirmed my actions were sound, advised me to block Aaron and his flying monkeys, and direct all communication through her. Done. The entitlement is just astounding. They genuinely seem to believe that his "I'm sorry for getting caught" should wipe the slate clean, and I should just absorb the betrayal and the financial hit. Nope, not happening. This isn't about revenge for me. It's about consequences. He made choices. These are the consequences. 3 weeks later. Things have escalated just as I figured they might. The entitlement hasn't just knocked on the door, it's kicked it in and tried to redecorate. The supervised collection of Aaron's remaining items happened early in the second week. It was as unpleasant as expected. Ms. Evans sent her paralegal. Aaron showed up with Chloe, both looking daggers. There was some muttering and a last-ditch attempt by Aaron to just talk to me for 5 minutes alone, which the paralegal politely but firmly shut down. The noise complaint I mentioned came after that, when they were leaving and Aaron had a full meltdown on the lawn, screaming about how unfair this all was. Thankfully, the paralegal was still there to witness that part. I explained this to my building manager when he called about the anonymous complaint. He noted it, especially the presence of a legal witness, and said unless there were verifiable ongoing issues, he'd consider the matter closed. Pretty sure that was Aaron or Chloe trying to cause trouble with my lease after the supervised pickup didn't go their way. Pathetic. Then the smear campaign started. Apparently, according to mutual acquaintances who've been getting tearful calls from Aaron and Chloe, I'm a controlling monster who drove Aaron into another woman's arms by being emotionally distant and too focused on work. Right. My working to provide the comfortable life he seemed to enjoy so much. Some people are buying it. Others are smart enough to see through the BS. Lost a couple of friends, but if they're that easily swayed by a one-sided sob story, they weren't real friends anyway. Then came dirty trick number 2, if you count the noise complaint as number 1. An email from a generic Hotmail address landed in my work inbox, CCING my boss and HR. Vague accusations about me using company time and resources to stalk and harass my ex-fiancé, claiming I was emotionally unstable and a potential workplace risk. My blood ran cold for a second, not going to lie. This could seriously mess with my career. Thankfully, my boss knows me well. He called me in, showed me the email, and I calmly laid out the heavily summarized truth. Fiancé cheated. Engagement off. He's retaliating. I offered to show him the PI report highlights, non-salacious parts, just proving infidelity and timelines. He declined, said he trusted me, and that HR would do a cursory check of my work computer activity, which is pristine, and then dismiss the anonymous, unsubstantiated claim. It was dismissed the next day. But the audacity to try and ruin my livelihood? That's a new low, even for them. Ms. Evans has logged this as well. She said it paints a clear picture of harassment. Aaron, through Chloe, since Aaron is blocked, also started demanding his share of the non-refundable deposits for the venue and caterer, claiming he invested emotionally in those choices. I had Miss Evans send a crisp reply. Mr. Aaron's last name's emotional investment in the wedding appears to have ceased approximately 2 months prior to the engagement's termination, coinciding with his extracurricular activities with Ms. Julia last name. There will be no financial remuneration for emotional investments that were clearly redirected elsewhere. Julia, by the way, seems to have gone completely MIA. Her flashy Instagram suddenly went private. Chloe let slip to a mutual acquaintance that she got spooked by all the drama. Translation. She realized Aaron wasn't going to be stepping into a comfortable, pre-funded lifestyle with her and bailed. Color me shocked. The anger I initially felt has mostly burned away now. What's left is a sort of grim determination to see this through cleanly and legally. He wanted to play games. Fine, but I'm playing by the actual rules. And the rules say actions have consequences. The PI report wasn't an act of aggression. It was a shield. And every dirty trick he pulls just makes my shield stronger. Final update, 6 months later. It's been just over 6 months since my world briefly imploded. The dust has settled and life has recalibrated. Thought I owed you all a final chapter. The attempts to extort money or sympathy continued for a while after my last update, but with diminishing returns. Aaron, after his anonymous complaint to my work, failed spectacularly, apparently tried to get a lawyer to send me a demand letter for emotional distress and his half of shared assets. We had no shared assets of significance. We weren't married, and the house is solely mine. Ms. Evans shut that down so fast it probably gave their cut-rate lawyer whiplash. She pointed out that any emotional distress Aaron suffered was a direct consequence of his own sustained infidelity and deceit. Crickets after that. The revenge part, if you can call it that, wasn't some grand theatrical gesture for me. It was simply me refusing to play his games, refusing to absorb his consequences, and meticulously ensuring he couldn't drag me down with him. The PI report wasn't just about catching him. It was about irrefutable proof that cut through any potential lies or manipulations he or his enablers could spin. That binder and Ms. Evans' calm, no-nonsense legal letters were my sword and shield. What happened to Aaron? From what I've pieced together through the grapevine, the few mutuals who didn't get sucked into his drama vortex, Julia, the aspiring social climber, vanished like smoke once she realized Aaron wasn't her meal ticket to an easy life. Big surprise. Aaron had to move back in with his parents, Eleanor, and a very disappointed father. Chloe is still his staunch defender, but even that relationship is supposedly strained because Aaron has been a nightmare to live with, expects everyone to cater to him, and takes no responsibility. Sounds about right. He's apparently working some temp job, complaining to anyone who will listen about how I ruined his life and tricked him with a PI. Zero self-awareness. Zero remorse. Just pure, unadulterated entitlement. Baffled that his actions had real, lasting negative consequences for him and not just for me. The wedding suit he demanded I pay for? Last I heard, he tried to sell it online, listed as brand new, never worn, dream canceled by Psycho X. Classy. As for me, the first few months were rough, not going to lie. I felt like a fool for not seeing it sooner. But mostly, I felt a profound sense of disappointment. The financial hit from canceled services was around $15,000 in lost deposits. Ouch. But my peace of mind? Priceless. I kept my job, my integrity, and my house. My real friends rallied. I took the trip we were supposed to take for our honeymoon. Went solo. It was cleansing. The best revenge has been living well, and more importantly, living honestly. I didn't need to shout from the rooftops about what he did. The truth had a way of seeping out. He wanted the drama, the affair, the thrill without any of the fallout. Instead, he got the cold, hard reality check he earned. He didn't just lose a fiancé. He lost the comfortable, secure future he took for granted. And knowing he's out there, stewing in the consequences of his own choices, unable to manipulate his way out of this one, yeah, that brings a certain quiet satisfaction.